Welcome everyone to House of Chi Yoga. I am Chi. I'm here on my mat to share my practice with you today. We're gonna do I'm gonna try my hardest to keep it an absolute Vinyasa yoga class. There's no music playing, so I'm hoping I'll be able to do it. I normally get too excited and just start doing all sorts of other movements, but I'm gonna do my best today to keep it yoga. So let's begin by taking it to child's pose. Toes together, knees wide. And we're just gonna stretch our arms forward, let go on the exhales, let the hips be heavy, the chest be heavy. Take some deep breaths, keep walking the fingertips to open through the underarm. And then if you'd like, you can fold your hands underneath the forehead here and just relax the head down. Giving yourself a little check-in, a little body scan. Noticing if there's anything in the body that we need to focus on today. Noticing where the breath is in the body. If you need to open up a little bit more through the chest and the belly to get the breath flowing. If you have Ujjayi breath in your practice, which is that throat constriction breath, it sounds like a wave, feel free to incorporate that breathing. You don't have to. It can be a little tense on the throat, so I never really recommend it. It's just if it's in your practice. I do it kind of naturally, but I also try to take just normal breaths to relax the throat. And we're going to begin walking the hands over to the right side and feel a stretch and almost fanning out of the left side body. The ribs are opening. You can use the fingertips to continue to walk for a deeper stretch. And then we'll move it straight across to the other side. Keep the right hip back as you continue to walk the fingertips. And then hands coming back through center. Let's walk the hands up, bring the knees together. If you're comfortable here on your knees, stay here. If you need to go to your sits bones, let's just flip it down to the sits bones. And we'll inhale, palms lift. Exhale, hands down to heart center. And then let the hands fall into the lap. We'll take one hand to the belly. I'm going to take my right palm to my belly. And as you breathe, as you inhale, bring the breath all the way down into the deep belly. You may feel some expansion across the hips, the pelvis. I always feel some opening space across the sacrum and my low back. You can keep your hand here on your belly, or if you feel like you want to let it fall back into the lap, go ahead and do that. And we're just going to start with a box breath. So inhaling for 4, holding for 4, exhaling 4, holding for 4. Let's begin. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. One more. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. And hold at the bottom. Take the hands to the base of the rib cage. On your next exhale, you're just going to lean forward, squeeze out the ribs, empty the lungs, get everything you can out. Inhale and fill the lungs up. And let's begin our practice. Take the wrists forward, open and close the palms, any kind of movement through the forearms, start expanding across the shoulder. And before we start moving to our downward facing dog, we'll place our palms flat and just check in with the fingertips, press the floor away from you, and now keep the arms locked and start moving the scaps toward each other and then away from each other. So you feel the space being created across the rhomboids, and then you're contracting the rhomboids. From there, we're just going to take a little thread, right arm goes underneath. Take a breath here. And then press it back through center, switch left side, inhale, left palm up, exhale, thread. Back through center. Take the toes, tuck them under, and just float the knees a little bit. Add a little pressure into the toes, wake up the ankles. Gradually, you start extending the legs, bringing the hips up, moving towards your downward facing dog. Let's keep one leg bent, one leg long. Now push the hips back, open up the hamstring with the straight leg. Switching sides. One leg straight, one leg bent. Open up the hamstring of the straight leg. And then we'll step or hop nice and slow forward. You can bend the knees here if you need. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale to a forward fold. You can take opposite elbow. You can bind to the legs. Anything to focus on opening the hamstrings. The upper body is heavy and hanging, creating space through the vertebrae. If you feel like you're ready for a little farther stretch, a little deeper stretch, you can gently place the hands to the back of the head and just slightly tuck the chin, give it a little tug. You feel some stretching a little bit more into the back muscles. Keep the feet planted down so we don't lose the legs. And gently release. We're going to do some big rolls. So bend the knees a lot. Your feet are pushing into the floor. Inhale as you roll it up. Exhale as you take it all the way down, vertebrae by vertebrae. I'm moving a little quick. Feel free to go a lot slower. Inhale, bring it up. I'm always having to remind myself to slow it down. Exhale to fold. Inhale to lift, work through the spine. Exhale to roll. 2 more breaths. Let it out on the exhales. The last one. From there, hands to the floor, step it back to a plank position, and then lower the knees. From here, untuck the toes, lift the hips up. We're just going to work right to left through the hips to get our abdominals active, to make sure the core is nice and strong and ready for our vinyasas. And then you could just do a couple push-ups. I always am just really cautious in my push-ups, so I keep my knees down. If you have a regular push-up, go ahead and do a regular push-up. And then we're going to extend it back and just roll front to back to continue to warm up the spine. Now, as you go forward, you can go towards that supported plank, or you can start opening up the chest towards a cobra. Bend the arms as much as you need to here. You can also add a little tricep push-up. As you bend the arms, you're working the triceps. One more. And then let's meet back in downward facing dog. We're going to move on to our sun salutations A. Go ahead and step or hop to the top. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Take a moment here and stand. So if you'd like to have your feet apart or together, that's your choice. I always keep my feet apart. If you are going together, one little tip is to hold the toes together and the heels just slightly apart. So it's a little bit more challenging to keep the feet together while we're moving through this vinyasa, but again, that's your choice. Inhale, palms rise. Exhale to a fold. Inhale, flat back. On the same exhale, we step to plank. Go through your version of chaturanga. I always like to lower my knees here. Inhale through a cobra, and then we're going to hold a cobra. If you're not ready for cobra, you just come down to a sphinx pose, forearms on the mat. So as you can tell, we're doing a lot of movement, one breath. So continue to breathe. That's the focus of your practice here today, is coordinating your breath, coordinating your movement. When you're ready, tuck the chin, hips, chest up, tuck the toes, find downward facing dog, and hold in down dog. Push the hips back. Feel one more stretch across the hamstrings, and then we'll bend the knees, step or hop up. Inhale to a flat back. Exhale to a fold. Slowing the breath. Inhale, rise, palms lift. Exhale, hands to heart, and then palms down to the side. Inhale to lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, flat. Exhale, your version, chaturanga. Inhale through cobra. Exhale to our downward facing dog. We're going to keep moving this time. Bend the knees, step or hop up. Inhale to flat. Exhale to fold. Inhale to rise. Exhale, hands to heart, palms to the side. One more time through inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale to flat. Exhale through your chaturanga. Inhale through cobra. Exhale to our downward facing dog. And then from downward facing dog, we're going to travel forward to plank. So I want us to hold our plank position so I can go over some good cues here. First, my index fingers are forward. My entire palm is working down. My fingers, my wrist, my whole palm, nothing's popping up off the floor. Now push the floor away from you, and you feel some lifting through the core and the upper back. Keep pushing the floor away from you. Try to keep holding here. Push into the toes to find the low abdominals, and your gaze should be in front of the thumbs at least, maybe in front of all your fingertips. So we don't want to be shifted back. We want to push into the toes to shift forward, and then we have that nice wrist, elbow, shoulder alignment. My core is burning. Shift your elbow creases forward. Find a nice wrap in the shoulder so you can hit your lat muscles. We're taking one more breath here. Hi. Exhale, open up to your version of cobra or sphinx pose. I'm going to add a little movement through my shoulders. Ooh, I've got my abs. And then we'll shift it back to our child's pose and give the hands a quick break. You could just flip the palms up facing the ceiling. Deep breaths here. Take a moment to settle in. When you do a lot of deep breathing, it can really fatigue the body. So just pay attention to what's happening in your body throughout this practice today. Let's shift it into our downward facing dog. And then step or hop to the top. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bend the knees as you fold this time, hang heavy. And then push the floor away from you through the feet and roll vertebrae by vertebrae, connecting the whole body. Palms rise, hands to heart center. Think of something you're grateful for today. Let's move on to our sun B. Inhale, palms lift. Exhale, sink it down to chair, hold. Maybe do a little roll, heel to toe. Lift through your navel, hug the hips together. Pull the hands up a little higher, open the heart. And then we'll inhale to stand. Exhale to fold. Inhale to flat. Exhale through chaturanga. Cobra. And then downward facing dog. Right toes rise this time. Let's take a moment to open up the right hip. Any movement, you can let the heel fall behind. You can extend the leg up and let it bend. Whatever feels good for you, big circles. And then we're going to bring our right foot to replace the right palm. And inhale, rise to our high lunge. Now hold your high lunge. Think about lifting up through the fingertips. If there's some pressure on your low back here, you can come up a little bit and bend your back leg. Otherwise, I'm going to stay low and push into my back toe. Make sure the hips are very active here. Let's take one more breath. On the exhale, hands swoop down, right foot steps back, and then lower through chaturanga. Inhale, exhale back. Left toes rise. Any movement on this side that you want that feels good to you, that's calling to you. And then we'll go ahead and bring our left foot to replace left palm. Inhale to our high lunge. Hold, check in with your stance. After this, we're going to be flowing quickly through our high lunge. So anything you need to adjust, check in with the body, make sure you have your adjustments here. Lift through the fingertips, push through the back toes. Remember, if there's pressure in the low back, you bend the knee. Let's take it all the way through. Meeting me in downward facing dog, and hang out here for just 1 second. So if you've noticed, I don't really do my chaturangas too much. That's just my personal preference. So please do your own chaturanga or no chaturanga. It's absolutely up to you in my practice. Bending the knee, step or hop up. Inhale, flat. Exhale, fold. And then inhale to chair pose. Stay there, hug the hips, squeeze, lift through the fingertips. This time as we move through, we're just doing one breath, one movement, including our lunges. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat. Exhale, chaturanga, cobra, and downward facing dog. Inhale, right toes up. Right foot top of the mat. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale all the way through your vinyasa. It's a big movement. You're removing the foot, stepping to plank, and going through. Find downward facing dog. Inhale, left toes rise. Exhale, step forward. Inhale to rise. Exhale, that big movement all the way through your chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, step or hop up. Inhale to flat. Exhale to fold. And then right to chair pose and stay there. We're gonna go through one more time. That was a lot of movement, that was quick. Hope you could keep up with me. I do like to move quickly. Feel free to slow down if you need to. Inhale, rise. Exhale to fold. Inhale to flat. Exhale, chaturanga. Cobra. And downward facing dog. Inhale, right toes up. Exhale, squeeze knee to nose. Unroll the foot. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale all the way through your vinyasa. Once you're in downward facing dog, we're going to inhale, left toes up. Exhale, knee to nose. Unroll foot. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale all the way through. Last vinyasa for here. And then let's just meet in our child's pose. Give yourself a little break. Let the breath be calm for a moment. Bring the heart rate down. Check in with yourself. Check in with your legs, your shoulders, your hands, your hips, all of it. Another moment of gratitude before we move on. And even if you don't have anything specific to be grateful for, just sitting in gratitude, thinking gratitude, even just seeing the word. It's all beneficial. Let's start bringing it forward. Step or hop to the top. Inhale to flat. Exhale to fold. Your version on the way up. I always love doing these nice long rolls for my body. So we're going to move on to Sun C. And we'll go through our first round where we're holding each pose. And then from there, we'll start moving one breath, one movement for the pose. So starting at the top of the mat, let's inhale, rise. Exhale to fold. Inhale, flat. Exhale through your version chaturanga. Remember, the entire palm is working down. Inhale, cobra. And then meet me in downward facing dog. Right toes up. You're going to take the right foot, replace the right palm, lower your back heel. So my feet are on train tracks. This is a warrior one. And if you can see, I'll shift forward. My feet are not together here, but they're actually on train tracks. So think about your heels being on the train tracks. So from my warrior one, my back leg is long. I want to sink into my front butt and use this front butt, that foot, to push and unroll so I get my shoulders stacked over my hips. Now in a warrior one, we have squared hips, which means we want to pull this long leg forward. I'm actually probably going to pivot my mat a little bit. Maybe that'll help. So working on your warrior one, pushing into the back toe. If the heel does not come down, that's okay. Try to keep the foot at a 45. Sink into your front leg. Use your hands if you need to. I can take my hand to my inner thigh and just roll my inner thigh up, and that's going to help me square forward. I'm going to sink a little deeper. I'm going to press the palms up and over my head. Lift through the sternum and the fingertips. Don't lose the back leg. Keep pushing from the back toes. This outside hip, this lateral hip, I'm going to squeeze. Make sure it's very active. It's going to help you keep the hips squared. Let's take a couple more breaths here. And every time we go through this with our movement, that's a lot of stuff to check in with. But that's why we want to hold to kind of feel the posture so that when you're moving with your breathing, you can kind of get into it real quickly, feel if it's okay, and then move on from there. One more inhale. Exhale. Now the hands are coming to the heart. You're going to load up on your back leg and step forward to hips distance. Left elbow to the right knee. So from here, you're going to press the palms together. Hopefully my mic is okay. Press the palms together, open up the chest. Take a little gander down at the toes. You want toes in one line. And the left knee not far forward. The twist isn't in the hips. Keep the hips squared. That left hip especially is pulling back. And then twist from the core, from navel all the way through the gaze. Your gaze can go right, it can go up. Keep the palms pushing together. Equal weight in the feet. Hug the hips in. Take another breath here if you like. You can even open up the arms here. Bringing the hands to heart center, gaze down. Now slowly rise up to standing. And the right foot is going to stay as the left knee comes up. Palms rise, inhale. Exhale, we're extending back to our warrior three. Now the hips are squared down to the mat. So check in with the left hip. Try to keep them equal, right and left. Your palms can go to the right thigh, that planted leg thigh if you need. They can go out, they can go forward. Whatever's going to help you balance. Whoa, looking all over. Helping us balance also is the gaze, keeping the gaze in one spot. Now the back glute is active. Find the back muscles. Keep the abs strong. If you think about lifting through the chest, it'll help you engage the back body. One more inhale. Exhale. Let's bring it up to stand. Palms overhead. Maybe you can keep the left foot floating off the floor. And maybe you can go into a no hands toe hold, extended forward in front of you. That's a huge thigh flex. Flex the thigh, pull your navel to your spine, keep driving the foot forward. Hands to heart, figure four. So my left knee is just gonna create this 90, and I'm gonna sink back into my right side squat. Palms are active, this front foot is active, my glute is active to protect the knee. Maybe you can sink it down a little deeper, feel a nice stretch on the hips. If you want, palms out. You can even take the palms up and overhead. Check in our drishti, our gaze is helping us stabilize. Always gazing down is easier than gazing forward. The hardest is gazing upward. From here, we're going to take a big movement. So my top leg is my left leg. It's going to extend back and in line with my front heel. I'm going to move into a warrior two stance. So now my front heel is in line with my back one. And I'm going to inhale, open to a warrior two. Front side is bent to a 90. Back leg is nice and long. Keep reaching from this front hip all the way through the fingertips. You can see as I'm pulsing, I'm sinking this down. I'm reaching farther. I'm just continuing to take a deeper stretch on this side. Maybe you can take the left hand to the front hip. One more breath. And then as we exhale, we're going to shift the toes. I know I'm not facing towards you, but we're going to shift the toes to move into goddess. So both my toes went forward in line with my body. And now my heels come in as I sink it down to goddess. You can use the hands to push the knees away. Feel the length in the spine. You can do a little rocking right to left. You can feel a nice inner thigh to groin stretch. Now engaging the glute muscles so you can safely release the hands. We're going to shift to the back of the mat. Our feet are just squaring to the back. Inhale to a high lunge. Now my feet are back on those train tracks. Hopefully you can see from behind me. They're back on train tracks. They're not on one line. And if you feel pressure in your low back, remember we talked about lifting and bending the back knee to get rid of that pressure. Since we've already done some high lunging, we're just going to take a breath here. And then frame the left foot, the back foot, and extend the right toes up. So similar to a warrior three, but this time we're trying to lift our leg higher than a hip. So I want to kick my heel up, use that butt muscle to keep extending the heel. You're getting a deep stretch along this front hamstring. You can grab onto your ankle and pull yourself closer. So think about thigh to belly, top leg extending. It's a very active posture. And then bending the standing leg. We're just going to take the back toes down and just walk to the front of the mat and go through your version of vinyasa. From there, we're in downward facing dog. Take a moment to center yourself. Check in with whatever you need there. And then we're going to switch to our left side. Inhale, left toes rise. Exhale, left foot replaces left palm, back heel goes down. So remember, we're on train tracks for our warrior one. Use this front side glute to unroll the spine. Now I have shoulders over hips. I'm checking in with my feet. I'm taking a moment to work through the pose. I want to push into my back blade and pinky toe, activate the lateral side of the hip, roll the inner thigh up. Now I'm super squeezing here. I can bend into the front leg. I can open my heart and my palms up towards the ceiling. Don't lose the back leg, and especially don't lose this back hip, otherwise you might be compressing down onto the knee. So keeping the muscles very strong and very active to help you hold in these postures. Maybe you can sink it down a little more, feel the front glute firing up. One more breath. Now it's a big transition. We bring hands down, we load onto the back leg and step forward to our chair twist. Now it's right elbow to left knee. Press open through the palms. Check in with the toes. They're in one line. The right knee isn't forward. It's in one line with the left knee. The hip is back. The twist comes from the abdominal muscles. Keep breathing. Maybe you can open up the palms here. Whew, just holding this is making me sweat. Let's take one more breath. And now exhale nice and slowly, and let's bring it up to rise. The left foot is staying planted. The right knee is going to float up. So we're moving to our warrior three now. You can extend the leg back, extend the palms forward, overhead, to the back, whatever feels comfortable for you. Remember, you can place the hands at the thigh as well. And as you push, that's going to help you lift the upper body. It's going to also help you activate your back muscles. Keep breathing. Kick the heel towards the back wall. Find the back body, expand across the chest. Oh, yeah, I'm getting sweaty. Let's take one more breath. I always forget how hard Vinyasa is. And then we'll bend into the knee. We're slowly stepping forward, hands to heart, and coming into our figure four stretch. Actually, let's take that extension on this side. I forgot about that. So you can hold here or you can extend, making it more challenging as palms up and overhead. Ooh, this leg is not quite as strong as my other leg. I can feel it. And then we'll sink down into our figure four. Ooh, that leg did not want to stay up there. So active through the foot, active through the glute. We're protecting the knee. And then as you sink down, you feel the stretch. Pay attention to the drishti. Pay attention to the toes, especially the big toe here. There's a lot of weight shifting. Keep the big toe planted. One more inhale. And then we'll gently come up nice and slow, stay in control of the movement. That right leg is stepping back to our warrior two stance. Now we're working front heel in line with back heel or arch, sinking into the front leg and extending up into your reverse warrior. You're getting that stretch from this hip all the way through to the fingertips. Try to keep the back leg long as the front leg bends. You have the option to take the right hand behind. You're sinking it to the opposite hip. Keep reaching as if someone was holding your hand and pulling it behind you. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, let's move into our goddess. So toes shifted forward in line with the body. Now heels shift in, and I'm going to use my hands to push the knees away. Have a nice stretch through the inner thigh here. Deep breaths to fill up the belly. Maybe releasing the shoulders a little bit. And then we're gently coming up. Now we're just squaring towards the back wall to our high lunge stance. We're back in our hips distance on our train tracks. Palms rise. Check in with your high lunge. Maybe you need to bend the back knee a little bit to keep the back safe. Shift forward into the toes. One inhale. Exhale, frame the top foot. Now you're loading up and stacking into a stand split. So whatever you did on the other side, if you took a bind, go ahead and take one on this side. Remember, the glute muscle is working to help lift. You're pushing the floor away from you through the bottom foot. And if you're binding, you're using that bind to get the chest and thigh closer together, the belly and thigh closer together. Oh, that's a nice stretch. One more breath here. As you exhale, gently place the back foot down. Just walk yourself to the top and go through your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Once you're there, bend the knees, step or hop up. Inhale, flat. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand, palms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. So now we're going to move through this sequence. One breath, one movement. And we'll see how it goes. I'm not used to doing this kind of breath movement cueing, so we'll see if I can keep up with it. Inhale, palms rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale to flat. Exhale, vinyasa. Cobra. Deep breaths. Exhale to your downward facing dog. Right toes rise. Exhale, pull it forward for your warrior one stance. You're going to inhale, lift to warrior one. Exhale, twist left elbow, right knee. Inhale, palms rise. Exhale, left foot extends back, warrior three. Inhale, left foot extends forward for the toe, hold palms up. Exhale to our figure four. Beautiful. Nice big inhale, stepping it to a reverse warrior. And then you exhale as you go to goddess pose, heels in. Next inhale is high lunge. Exhale to hands down. Inhale to stand split. Exhale, travel to the top of the mat and go through your vinyasa. They're long, deep breaths. You're working with deep abdominal breathing. Once you're in downward facing dog, stay there, take a breath. Try to control the breathing as you get through those movements. Once you get into your downward facing dog, you always get to reset. Let's move on to our left side. Inhale, left toes rise. Exhale, replace left palm, lower back heel. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, chair twist, right elbow, left knee. Inhale to rise. Exhale, right foot extends back, warrior three. Inhale, forward, right side, toe stand, toe hold, Exhale, figure four. Big inhale as you take it all the way back to your reverse. And big exhale as you sink it to your goddess. Inhale as you move cross, open up high lunge. Exhale to frame. Inhale, left toes rise, stand split. Exhale, long exhale as we go all the way back through your vinyasa. Anytime you need to skip out on your vinyasa, you can go to child's pose. You can just not do the push-up. Bend the knees, step or hop up. Inhale to flat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll it up. Exhale, palms to heart, a moment of gratitude. Hands down to the side. Let's keep going. Inhale, lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, flat. Exhale, chaturanga. Cobra. Exhale, down dog. Right toes rise. Inhale. Exhale, replace right palm, lower back heel. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, chair twist, left elbow, right knee. Inhale to stand. Exhale, left foot back for warrior three. Inhale, toe hold forward. Exhale, figure four. Inhale, leg goes back, reverse warrior. Exhale, all the way to goddess. Inhale, high lunge to the back. Exhale to frame. Inhale, stand split. Exhale, walk it across all the way to the top. Your vinyasa. Once you're in downward facing dog, we're going to move on to the left side. Inhale, left toes. Exhale, top of the mat, lower back heel. Inhale, rise, warrior one. Exhale, right elbow, left knee, twist. Inhale to stand, right toes. Stand back on the exhale to warrior three. Inhale, forward, toe hold. Exhale, take it to figure four. Big inhale as you open to the back, reverse. Exhale to goddess. Inhale, back of the mat, high lunge. Exhale, hands frame. Inhale, stand split. Exhale, walk it forward. And through your vinyasa. We're going to go through one more time. If you need to go ahead and stay here, you can just hold in downward facing. You can hold in child's pose. Otherwise, we're going to go through one more time. Focus on your breathing. I'm going to do a little bit less cueing this time. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat. Exhale, chaturanga. Cobra. Down dog. Inhale, right. Exhale, step to the top. Inhale, lift. Exhale, left elbow, right knee, twist. Inhale, rise. Exhale, left foot back. Inhale, toe hold. Exhale, figure four. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, goddess. Inhale, back of the mat, high lunge. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, stand split. And then exhale, travel. Meet me in downward facing dog. Inhale, left toes rise. Exhale, top of the mat. Inhale, rise. Exhale, right elbow, left knee twist. Inhale to stand. Exhale, right foot back. Inhale, toe hold. Exhale, figure four. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, goddess. Inhale, back of the mat, high lunge. Exhale, frame. Inhale, stand split. Exhale all the way through. This time we're going to stay in our plank position and hold. Push forward into the toes. Check in with all the plank cues I gave you before. Push the floor away from you. Keep breathing for 3, 2, and 1. Knees down. palms up, take a breath in child's pose. Maybe your forehead can go to the mat. You can roll it right to left. When you're ready, walking it up and creating a little blood stop where you place the hand inside or in between the legs and try to get the compression right at the wrist here. So you just kind of wiggle them under, you sink the weight onto the hands, create that wrist compression. And then we can release, open and close the palms. Let's go into a nice rounding of the spine. That was a lot of opening, expansion, front body work. So let's round through the back so we can get rid of any compression there. So I'm going to I'll keep my toes tucked under, and I'll turn to the side so you can see my rabbit's pose. So in a rabbit's pose, we want to make sure that we're not putting any compression on the neck. We're using the back muscles and the core to lift and create space from the ear to the shoulder. So I'm going to saddle grip, which is just this little C cup, saddle grip the heel, and my head is not just coming down, but I'm already starting to round to get my forehead as close as I can get it to my knees. So watch as I bring it down. Now as I lift up, I'm pushing my arms long, and I'm lifting up and not driving forward. So if I drive forward, it would look like this. I'd be crunching my neck, and you could hear my voice immediately changed. Instead, I want to put down and then lift to create space. Now I can still breathe. I don't have any compression on my neck, and I'm lifting to create as high of a C curve as I can get in the spine. So let's go ahead and hold there. Take a few deep breaths. You're still pulling navel to spine. You're still feeling the abs staying active. And as you breathe, that breath is opening up the back body, opening up those long back muscles, expanding across the rib cage. We'll take another breath here. If you do need to come out, you just go to child's pose. Keep the head, the gaze down. And gently releasing. Head stays down. Oh, that was super fun. I do love Vinyasa. I'm not great at teaching Vinyasa, but it is my favorite class to take. It's my favorite place to be a student in a Vinyasa class. Walking it up. Let's go into a quick hip stretch. We'll take one leg forward. I just popped my left leg forward and back leg nice and long. Now when you're going into a pigeon pose, start really high, and you can even sit on a block or something here if you need to, but you want to start high to make sure the hips stay squared forward, and then as you breathe, you can continue to sink down towards the mat. So the goal here is not really to sink and touch the mat, but to keep the hips squared so you open up this front psoas area in the front hip flexors. Take a nice deep breath, maybe pushing into the fingertips for a little back bend. And then we'll go down to the bottom and you go into a fold. Now you'll feel the other hip a lot more. I'm going to go ahead and reach my left hand back to bind to my right foot. So it's a little cross bind here because my quads are feeling kind of tight. And as you pull the heel to the butt, you'll feel the quads open. Pay attention when you're doing this not to just roll towards the right side, still keeping the weight centered, keeping the hips squared. And then gently releasing. Now let that top booty just come down to the mat, and we unroll into a half straddle. So tuck the heel close, take a side bend. Actually, let's just go right to left. Keeping the sits bones pulling down. And then travel to the right toes and go straight into a fold. Unrolling to the top. We're switching legs. I'm just going to step into our downward facing, give it a little shake, a little release, and then bring my right foot to the top of the mat. Remember, start high, lift, then use the breath to start bringing the hips closer to the mat if you want. Now also, don't have to be on the mat. If you feel the stretch on the hip flexors and psoas at the top, then you stay there and breathe. You can check in with your back toe. Your back leg is nice and long. One more deep breath. And as you exhale, take it to a forward fold. Relaxing into the hips. You want to take the bind on this side. The right hand reaches back to the left toes, heel to butt to open up the quads. And then gently releasing the bind there. Now I'll be facing away from you. Sink to the front glute muscle. You have your heel in. Just kidding. That's just silly. I should just turn around. I don't know what the right angle is for these yoga videos. You need all angles, but unfortunately, I'm only one person with one phone. Maybe one day, if I blow up, I can hire a camera crew. That'd be awesome. And then take it to a fold on the left leg, forehead down, stretch the hamstring. And gently unrolling. Let's take it onto the back, let the legs go up into the air, give it a little shake. Releasing the blood flow from the legs. It's my favorite, it feels so good. You can pull the feet together, heels down. If you can reach your toes, you can push on your toes, in between your toes. You can push the knees open wide. You can open to a happy baby and rock the hips. Eventually bringing the knees together, doing a little twist right to left. Feel free to hold a twist. I'm just going to do a movement twist. So I'm keeping my shoulders down on the mat, keeping my upper back down on the mat as much as I can, and just bringing the knees right to left. As you travel through center, you have to use your core. This is really good for the back. You got to engage the ab muscles so you're not pulling from the back muscles. Let's go one more. And then landing in Baddha Konasana, feet together, give the belly a massage. I love to do adjustments from here, so I take my wrist to my hip line. Now that my belly muscles are nice and soft, I exhale and lock the arms out, and that usually opens up my vertebrae, gets some cracks and pops out of my spine. Oh yeah, I got some good ones today. Gently releasing the pressure, little bits at a time. Let's take a breath here. This is your Shavasana time. Feel free to stop the video now and do Shavasana for as long as you'd like. I'm just going to hold here for a moment. If you're still with me, let's go ahead and roll it to the right side. And going back into your space of gratitude. Seeing if anything else comes up for you. Pressing it up through center to seated. I hope you enjoyed that class today. It always hits just a little bit differently when you get to do the movement with the breath in such a consecutive flowing motion. I feel like it just works something different. It's pretty magical. So I hope you enjoyed that today. I'll try to get more of these classes online. Thank you for practicing with me today. Inhale, palms rise, hands to heart. Thanking yourself, thanking your body, thanking the space around you and all those in your world that allow you to practice all the things. Thank you. See you next time on the House of Chi.